Most Megadeals clients are sustainability tech startups or scale-ups, or SaaS startups or scale-ups. We have others, but those are dominating our customer base. Most of them are between 5 and 100 employees. They have a relatively high complexity. They also sell into companies, typically medium-sized and large companies, in many countries at the same time. Another additional characteristics of our typical clients is that they have a finite market as opposed to an infinite market. So they're typically selling into one or two industries that are oligopolized. So the target industry they're selling into is traditional. So it's been there for a while, and therefore the companies have bought each other, and you have a market concentration. So you have that in pulp and paper, oil and gas, the energy market, transportation, airlines, etc., etc. Most traditional markets, banks, telecom, etc., they have a market concentration. So 80% of the volumes are found among a finite, so a limited number of players, typically everything from 3, which is the most extreme example we have, all the way up to a few hundred companies that on a worldwide basis are dominating the big volumes for that industry. Another perspective on our typical clients are that they typically sell a new category, so some kind of innovation that disrupts the old. We do have clients that sell an established category, but the majority are selling a new category. When you sell a new category, the buying is different. An established category typically goes into an RFP, and there's a beauty contest, functionality, price, capability to deliver, etc. It goes up to higher up in the organization for a final decision. This is the recommended party. These are the follow-ups. This is the recommended winner. These are the runner-ups. Whereas for an unestablished category, you typically need to win early at the very high stakeholders. They typically delegate you down to somewhere medium level in the organization, and they are spending time with you. Then they report back up saying, this is a viable category and this company seems very interesting. They still delegate you down. So the end route is very similar to an established category, but you have to go through what we call the W model as opposed to just the I in an established category. So the W model adds extra complexity. You need to do a lot of missioning and visioning and educate the market about your new category. A further perspective on our typical clients is that they have in their deal making a complexity around cross-hierarchical and cross-functional anchoring. So they need to get yeses from a lot of hierarchical levels, several functional areas normally. And this is accelerated when you have a new category, as I just mentioned, as opposed to an established one. On top of that, their offering has a high complexity. So it's not so easy to just bring in salespeople, bring them up to speed, and they can carry the offering in the market. You need to typically have a very deep expertise in being able to sell it. And the fourth component is that the complexity on the buyer side is very high. So you need to understand their processes, their KPIs, how they're organized, surrounding technologies to what you're offering to be able to fit your offering into them. All of these factors combined lead to what we call the rainmaker dependency. And to be very specific, we have seen 0 exceptions to this. No company that we've ever come across are ticking all the boxes I just mentioned and do not have a dependency on some seriously important key people. So everyone that ticks the boxes have a rainmaker dependency or a key person dependency. To be very stereotyped, and this does not necessarily fit you, but very stereotyped is typically a co-founding CEO, is a co-founding CSO, so head of sales, and some kind of CTO, co-founding or not. Those 3, 80-20 rule, are very, very important in the deal making when going from having 1, 2 deals to having 10, 20, 50 deals. Those are really, really important in those earlier phases of a company. This, to be clear, takes more years than most people think. So what we've seen are 2 different scaling models. Most first-time entrepreneurs make the mistake of thinking that they can be duplicated. So they make the first 2, 3, 4 deals with the founders. Then they start to recruit salespeople and they think, oh, I can duplicate myself. The hard awakening is that they realize, typically too late when they've burned too much money and lost a lot of traction, is that realize that these new salespeople are hanging around the legs of the key people asking too many internal questions, need to bring them into every meeting. So in the end, this new sales force, even with super senior people, tend to burden the key people, not scale them. So the duplication scaling model does not work. We have seen 0 exceptions to this. What does work instead is what we recommend is that you take the key people, they still make the first few deals to prove the case. And then you need to scale the key people in 2 different ways. The first thing is to scale them through a media machinery. I'll soon describe how. So to your finite market, to the specific targets that you want to win and grow, use a heavy media machinery. I'll come back to that. The second way to scale them is to put offloaders. You can call them secretaries, but typically it's not a secretary profile. Quite often a semi-senior management consultant profile that is offloading the top 3-4 key people. And it's better to scale the key people, not duplicate them, because a duplication will not work. So there are 3 factors that are important when you come with high complexity, finite market, a new category. The first one is to win people at the higher level in the customer segment. So board, C-level, VP level typically, because you need to engage them and you need to get them on board. Otherwise, you won't be able to succeed commercially. The second thing, you need to win the consensus war. You need to be able to drive consensus in these top companies at scale beyond the reach of humans. And the third factor, which is super critical that most people underestimate, you need to normalize your category. So the faster you can make your category normalized in the heads of the people working in your top priority accounts, the faster you can sell. So when they start to go, yeah, of course you should be using X, Y, and Z category. And of course we should be using company Y. Then that accelerates your deal making tremendously. So we can leapfrog several years of slow market by being good at normalizing. When you have a finite market, we have invented something we call the finite market paradox. And it shows that you're making more deals and faster if you delay decisions. That sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? So if you delay or defer decisions, you make more deals and faster. The opposite of delaying decisions is to forcing the customer to say yes and no too early. A few examples of forcing the customer to say yes and no too early are things like cold calls, cold emails, cold in-mails. We're then asking the customer, and I think you can relate because people reach out to you in the same way, we're asking them to take a position when your category is unknown, your brand is unknown, you as an individual is unknown. So all these 3 are unknowns, and then they're asking you for a meeting. The typical answer is no. So in a finite market where there is this oligopolized situation, we can't afford a low win rate. We can't afford either burning bridges, and typically these cold outreach are actually slowly burning, either fast or slowly burning bridges. And this is why we, based on the Megadeals research, based on almost 15 years of hands-on work with these kind of deals, we have created the deal orchestration enablement, which is a new category that have grown very fast. Over the last year, we grew several thousand%. We have now customers in 5 continents, and we're continuing to grow. The deal orchestration is the first category in the marketing and sales space that make sales, marketing, and social selling completely aligned. So the key components in deal orchestration enablement, DOE, are 4. The first one is understand your customers in depth. So here we actually help our customers mapping out the target organization, the board, the owner, the C-level, the VPs, etc. So we understand who we're dealing with. And when we speak to them, we also know where these people sit in the organization and who else we need to engage. The second component is the normal sales. And here we don't deliver anything, that's up to you. We do deliver advice. The third component is marketing coverage. And here we've built a sophisticated machinery. I haven't seen anything like it in the world, where we're combining LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, news sites, all news sites in the world, and YouTube with 4 different targeting models, where we go on individual, we go on IP, so the whole companies, we geofence certain offices, and we use a combination of roles, etc. And none of this you can do in these combination of platforms without the software we've built. So that's super powerful. So we've managed to get all of this combined as one. And what we see with our clients is that we, for the first time, get them to super collaborate between marketing, sales, social selling, and intelligence. This means that we can take both your current pipeline, the ones you want to attract, and your existing clients and investors, and we start to build a media machinery around them, which is highly sophisticated. What most people tilt to is they go, yeah, but we do targeting in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is beautiful, just to be clear, we use LinkedIn. But LinkedIn standalone isn't working well enough for most of our clients. So if you're targeting a marketing and sales community, LinkedIn can be great because marketing and sales professionals are hanging out on LinkedIn. What we've seen though is that a lot of companies that we work with that are targeting these traditional industries, and you're targeting people that are not commercial people, they're not sales and marketing people, they are way too infrequently on LinkedIn. So doing the LinkedIn targeting alone doesn't cut it. So therefore we use news sites, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as well. These are much more used by non-commercial people. We use LinkedIn as well, but we are adding 4 media worlds. And with only LinkedIn, I can assure you will get a media effect that is a rounding error compared to when you have these 5 combined. And with the addition that you can't even do in LinkedIn, we're targeting exact individuals. That's our key model. And then we broaden this. So especially when you're in the active deal-making phase, we might go from targeting the 12, 15, 30 most important people to all of a sudden target a few hundred to a few thousand, and we even ring fence their offices to start to target them. So all of a sudden we really want to influence them at a broader scale and win the consensus war. So typically you start with a few stakeholders to get qualified. When there's a mutual qualification, they typically start to engage more people internally. And here you want to be very fast at growing your brand and your presence using media. For example, I strongly believe that even in more let's call it sad situations, media has shown its potential. So if countries in a war would stop with their media engagement, I'm pretty sure that they would even get their own population against them. This is a very negative context, but we're not using in the war context, we're using in the commercial context for companies that do good for the world. What we have managed to do, which I'm super proud of, we've built a platform on top of all these 5 media worlds, and with a large number of targeting techniques, highly built for companies with a finite market and high complexity, that you can't find anywhere else. I think we've really created something new, and where you combine marketing, sales, and social selling in one platform. On top of the possibilities to influence these companies, the reporting side is also unique, where we've built one way of reporting across these accounts and across the right individuals that is unified. So you don't have to look at the LinkedIn report, the HubSpot report, the blah, blah, blah report, etc. It's all unified around these top companies and top individuals, and you look at them individually very, very clearly, regardless of channels. What we also do for our clients is that we have exceptions, we normally produce the media assets, so the ads and the sponsored posts, and where we're using positioning around the category, the company, you and some other key individuals and your concepts. We also use a reference, etc. As you can see in most of the media surfaces we produce, we use your faces because it's very, very unfair advantage to not just position the category and the company and the references, etc., but also the key people. So once you're interacting with these customers for real, you get the Hollywood effect. They recognize you and feel that they know you, much like with celebrities. And this sounds super superficial, it is, but it totally works. One of our best clients, they don't call it the Hollywood effect, they call it the red carpet effect. So you come into meetings and you engage with more and more stakeholders inside the key prioritized accounts, and they already know you. On top of us having a great solution, the reason why we grow so fast, I think, is that we've managed to create the software layer on top of 5 media worlds, which is unique. We've built targeting models that you combine that cannot find anywhere else. We built a unified reporting that you can't find anywhere else either. But on top of that, we built the processes so that you normally require 4 full-time employees, and you require about 6 different platforms to be able to do what we do in one. I've done that myself on the buyer side, so I know. And you're ending up spending like 1.5 million euros per year. Our model brings this down to 1 salary. So at the cost of 1 salary, you get the capacity of what companies like IBM, etc. has, but at the fraction of the cost, because we built it for startups and scale-ups with finite markets. It's tailored for them, and the price tag and the workflows are designed to fit smaller, medium-sized companies that sell into medium-sized and large companies. For the equivalent of 1.5, and 2 salaries of SDRs or digital marketeers, you get the platform, you get the team that executes it, and you get the media budgets, the media productions, and the continuous reporting and coordination with the sales team. And we typically work directly with the combination of a marketing leader and the sales leader, and then we support on the key deals. We've cracked the catch-22 in terms of tech stack, in terms of people and money, made it available for companies that strive to be the biggest in the world, but they're still 5 to 100 employees, and they're at the growth journey. Few questions that we often get or comments. But we already do this, and I can assure you, you don't. For example, yes, you can target on role and its industry, etc. in LinkedIn, but as I mentioned a few minutes ago, LinkedIn, for most of our clients at least, have a weak effect. It's important, but if you rely on LinkedIn alone, it will not cut it. It will get a very, very limited effect, because most stakeholders that you are talking to are not sales and marketing stakeholders. They have other functions, and other functions are not heavy consumers of LinkedIn, unfortunately. So we need to combine it with news sites, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Then some will say, well, on news sites, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, you can't target exact individuals, you can't target buildings, you can't target exact companies. Well, we can. So we come from the largest deals in the world, but we've seen that these methods, how you combine marketing, sales, and social selling and intelligence, is very applicable on important deals. They don't have to be large. It's actually even more important that you do the right things when your deal size is medium-sized to small, because the cost of inefficient marketing and sales will kill your business. So you need to be well-oiled to grow a business and later on making profits. And if you do unsuccessful and inefficient marketing and sales, that will not be the case. It's even more important to be very, very efficient if your tickets are medium-sized to small, even though most of our clients are doing medium-sized to large tickets, so they have important deals, but we also have clients that have even pretty small deals. But as soon as you start to navigate medium-sized to large companies, it's sometimes a bit like searching for the needle in a haystack. So, and here we can be very effective. Quite often we work with companies that have like 1 or just a few people running the marketing, sometimes no one. And if you have 1 or a few, what we often see, there's an unrealistic expectation. So the CEO and head of sales and the chairman, etc., they believe that 1 or a few marketing people can create miracles. So there's always an expectation that they should do webinars, be at conferences, they should do the web, they should do SEO, SEM, they should do target ads in all platforms, they should do thought leadership, videos, etc. That is an unrealistic expectation that I often see, especially from non-marketing savvy founders or first-time entrepreneurs. Marketing is very complex, and if you want to do it at the world-class level, it's very important to have the right people, but also the right vendors involved. In our most common engagement model, we have a 3-month rolling quitting period, so even that is packaged as an employee. And the most common clients that buy from us, they actually take 1 salary space and move us in to begin with. And then we start to produce results together. A very common question we get is, okay, let's say we signed the agreement with you. How fast are we live in lead time, and how many hours do we as a buyer of the Megadeals services need to invest to get started? So first of all, it's between 2 to 4 weeks to go live, lead time. Depends on how ready you are with certain assets like graphical profile, etc. Secondly, the answer, how much time do I need to invest to get started with Megadeals? It's between 7 and 10 hours that you need to invest to go live with us. Maybe we are already in discussion with you guys, and then I hope to see you in our next meeting together. Or this is the first time you come across us, and then please email me.